Welcome to Jones and for Sports, where we make sports better.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jones, and welcome to another episode of Locker Room Sunday. As always, I'm joined with my boy Luke. What's up, boy?
What's going on there, Chief?
Not much. Feeling good. Cowboys coming off a good win. You see what it is. Hey, New York. You know how I'm repping. I know you're feeling good.
It's not like you live in the Bronx or anything. Just throwing that out there.
Exactly. I know you're coming off of a win, so your team's feeling good and everything. So let's get right into it. If we got time, we'll definitely get into what happened this past week, but I've already been talking shit, so we don't got to talk too much about that. But let's get into this coming up, starting with tonight's game, Miami at Jacksonville. Who do you got?
By far the shittiest game of the week. Such a bad game to the point where you almost don't want to waste the energy or breath to discuss this.
You sure it's not the best game of the week? You sure?
I mean, if you're a degenerate fuck gambler, or like if you somehow have like 10 grand on this game, more power to you. I personally am going to go with Jacksonville for no other reason than why the fuck not? I mean, they beat the Colts. I mean, let's be real. They beat the Colts week 1. The Colts are better than the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are going to play hard because they almost just beat a far better Buffalo team. Something tells me that the short week favors a team like Jacksonville, who's playing with zero expectations, versus a team with Miami where you're not expected to make the playoffs, but you should be around the 8-8 mark come the end of the year. So given a throwaway game, give me the team that's going to probably be more loose, a little bit more kind of a fuck it mentality, attitude, and just let them kind of ride that out. Although Mike Gesicki,
I agree,
is definitely the most underrated tight end in football.
No question. I agree with that for sure. I'm going with Jacksonville as well. I was like this at first because I'm not really a fan of either team. They haven't really impressed me that much, even though Miami has had close games against teams that I didn't expect them to have close games against.
Yep.
But I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I think they have the better quarterback, even though Fitzpatrick hasn't played terrible. But I like Mitchell. He's played better. And one thing I'll also say is if Fitzpatrick doesn't have a good game and they lose, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tua come in the either this game, if it's a blowout, or next week.
Well, doesn't this kind of go back to the expectations? Fitzpatrick is not the guy who's taking you to a Super Bowl. Never has been, never will be. Sure as shit isn't this year. But again, Miami has some incentive given contracts like Byron Jones, all the things that they've done. I understand you drafted Tua. Tua's going to be there for a while. You don't need to rush the kid. Especially, I'm sure the hip's 100%. But I'm more curious. I heard nothing about his reps, like in training camp, how many of them specifically. So what's the rush? You're not making the playoffs. Neither of these teams are making the playoffs. Neither of these teams have any sky-high expectations. So, you know what? Just kind of take the chips as they fall. Don't. Now is not the time to start forcing your hand.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So we're both going with Jacksonville on that one. Next week, Sunday's first game, 1:00 game, Chicago at the choking Falcons. Who do you got?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Atlanta can score and can't stop anybody. And I don't trust – the Bears should have lost to the Giants. They deserve to lose that game. Something tells me, if Julio is out for that game, Atlanta does not win that game. I'll put it to you like that. Hayden Hurst and Calvin Ridley combined are not enough firepower to beat what is still a good Bears defense. Conversely, David Montgomery looks already significantly better than last year. Cohen is still there. Robinson's still there. All of the 80 tight ends they've drafted over the last 10 years are still there. I'll take the team with the defense.
All right.
Yeah.
Normally, I would agree with you on that and take Chicago as well. But for this reason and this reason only, I'm going to pick the Falcons.
All right.
This, to me, is a job on the line game for Dan Quinn.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
If he does not get this game, I think he's out of there. Because ever since the Super Bowl collapse, that team has not been the same. So, and we've seen what happened last week against my Cowboys. I had no faith in my Cowboys watching that game. I even stopped watching the game at mid-second quarter. Saw the halftime scores, saw mid-third quarter score, saw we were coming back a little bit, but I said, there's no way the Atlanta Falcons are going to let this happen again. I'm not going to let this happen again. And then little did you know, here we come. And not only did we get close, but we were still an onside kick away from getting that shot. And we fucking got it. In today's football, where it's almost impossible to get an onside kicks. You can't even run before the guy kicks the ball. So
I know
the rules is unbelievable, and that goes to Dan Quinn. In my opinion.
So I know you said we're not going to harp much on last week unless there's time, but this needs to be spoken on.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
I swear to God, every player on the Falcons return team must have looked at that football and thought it was like a Chinese guy from the Wuhan lab where the coronavirus was invented at, because they wanted no part. They all just stood there. They literally just stood there, watched. I don't know who on the Cowboys dove on it, but kudos to him for knowing the fucking rules and having the awareness to be able to count to 10. Honestly, Atlanta's another one of those teams. You're gonna hear me probably reference expectations a lot in this episode. They're 0-2. Dan Quinn, like you mentioned before, ever since the 28-3 debacle in the Super Bowl, that team's been a fucking train wreck. The only reason it's not more known is because it's Atlanta, and you have other teams like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Jacksonville that have been more of a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, I mean, I'm not gonna say I feel bad for the Falcons because it's their own fault.
Right.
But yeah, I would think one more week after this game, if they start 0-4, I think he's done. Because at that point, you're out of the playoffs. Let's just be real.
You're done. Yeah.
Right. But there's other coaches, and we'll get to them at some point. But there's other coaches other than Dan Quinn, I think, that need to be fired with more haste.
Yeah. No question. No question.
But yeah, so in terms of that game, you're picking the Falcons. I'm taking the Bears. If that game, if either of those teams scores over 3 touchdowns, though, I'll take Atlanta. If Chicago can contain them and keep it low, it's theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Because like you said earlier, Atlanta can score and Chicago can play defense.
Oh,
so
yeah. Atlanta
whoever
can score, yeah.
Right. All right, the game after that, LA Rams at Buffalo. Who do you got for this?
That's a good game. Normally, this would be one of those home field advantage type things. Here's the problem. It's still September. It's not 3 feet of snow in Buffalo yet. So you're not going to mess with the West Coast team flying out east with the weather or the atmosphere that Bills Mafia can create. That being said, I'm still taking Buffalo only by a field goal. This has like a 27, 23-ish vibe to it. Both these teams are going to score. the LA was supposed to have gotten tested week 1. Van Der Esch broke his collarbone, first quarter?
Yep.
Right. And then your defense went relatively unglued because you lost your middle linebacker.
Yeah.
So what I want to see out of the Rams is how do you handle a defense that's going to smack you in the mouth? Because Buffalo, New England, even the fucking Redskins are like – not the Redskins, the football team are like that. So
right. Very true.
Right. Buffalo is not the team to underestimate. We know they're the favorites to win that division. And for what it's worth, Stephon Diggs right now is leading the NFL in receiving. Josh Allen's slinging everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in Buffalo seems to be firing on all cylinders. That
sure is.
Right.
I agree with
LA's
you.
look damn good.
I'm Buffalo. Yeah, no, LA's look great too. They have offense, they got defense, and Buffalo's got the same. They got offense, they got defense. The reason why I'm picking Buffalo is because I'm just loving what I'm seeing out of Josh Allen. He's really taken that next step, and to prove, all right, you know what? Tom Brady's not here. Even though they got Cam Newton, they're still not the same New England Patriot team. This is our division to lose, and that's the attitude it seems like they have right now. So I'm love what I'm seeing from Buffalo. I think they're going to hold on to this division. So I'm sticking with Buffalo on this.
The Rams are a good test for Buffalo, though.
Mm-hmm, definitely. This is definitely a big game for them to.
That needs to be spoken on. Like we know. I'm not saying Buffalo hasn't played anybody, but I think if you take away that lightning delay in Miami, that game is not nearly as close.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember. Oh, and they played the Jets week 1. So this is like that first real, in my opinion, that first real test. The Rams are legitimately, at least initially, back to what we saw a couple years ago.
Yep.
And they seem to be firing on. And Jalen Ramsey looks far more comfortable in that defense.
Right.
Not expecting a humongous game out of Diggs. This game has to be won by John Brown, Cole Beasley, Devin Singletary.
Yeah. And I think it will.
Reckless shit by Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, so we both got Buffalo in that matchup. Yeah. Will definitely be a game to watch, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The next matchup is Washington at Cleveland.
Oh, God.
Another dumpster game. Who do you have?
Well, so let's look at this. Last Thursday, we saw Joe Burrow play a hell of a game against that defense. Dwayne Haskins is not Joe Burrow. Simply. No. I'm going to take Cleveland. I don't want to, but for what it's worth, Cleveland looked damn good last week. Baker looked comfortable. And again, grain of salt here. You're playing what is probably the worst defense in football in Cincinnati. So it's easy to look comfortable and kind of stunt a little bit when you're facing a team that had no pass rush on you the entire game.
Right.
But he was moving the ball. I would just like to see more throws to Austin Hooper because you paid him. So justify paying him what you're paying him. Aside from that, Landry, Beckham, they look good. The defense should be okay. There's only one player on Washington you worry about. It's Terry McLaurin. If you contain him, Arizona couldn't do it. If you can keep McLaurin under 100 yards and out of the end zone, you should win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that one as well. I don't want to pick Cleveland, but they're going against Washington, who's worse. So I'm going with Cleveland. They're coming off of a good win last week. And Washington is just Washington. There hasn't been much of an upgrade for them besides on defense with Chase Young. And adding Terry McLaurin is
complete now, though.
Right, exactly. So that helped them out a lot, adding him. But other than that, I don't, like you said, Dwayne Haskins from my favorite school as far as football goes, Ohio State. But he sucked. He sucks. I'm not a big fan of him, so that's where I'm at with that. Cleveland, they still got a lot to prove. They want to prove that they're still supposed to be one of the top teams in the AFC. But we have yet to see it. We had seen flashes of it. Here's another chance for them to show them because they're not going up against a great team. So, lose, and there's going to be a lot of shit talking about Mayfield and those guys. We've already heard talks about Beckham being traded. So, if they lose this game, that will spice up a lot more. Now to a little bit more better game. You got the Tennessee Titans at the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you have?
Oh, give me Tennessee in a landslide. Minnesota right now is a plane where both engines are failing, which means nosedive.
Yeah.
Last week it was the offense who shit the bed. The week before that, the defense got completely exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this. This is what happens when you let everyone from a cohesive unit leave at once. It's too much. It's too many pieces to fill. Harrison Smith can't do it all himself. Linval Joseph right now is getting double teamed all the time. There's nothing there. There's not this team that Vikings team looks lost, completely lost. And if Kirk Cousins can't throw at least 200 yards, major problem.
Major problems.
Meanwhile, Tennessee without A.J. Brown looked arguably better. I mean, Jonnu Smith had a hell of a game. Tannehill was accurate the whole time. That defense, we've always said, it's not bad. It's sneaky good.
Right.
And they have they know how to get to a quarterback, and Kirk Cousins has proven he can be easily rattled. You're telling me Kevin Byard and or Adoree Jackson won't each probably have a pick in this game?
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
Definitely possible. Again, I have to agree with you. Tennessee Titans, they look good. They look complete, and the Vikings don't. The Vikings don't look complete at all, and it's very disappointing because I had Minnesota winning this division, but it looks like Green Bay is going to run away with this division because of how hot they've started. Obviously, it's only week 2, but still, you can tell a lot within the first 2 weeks of a season with certain teams. Certain teams will change it around, but certain teams you can just tell from jump. This doesn't look good, and that's what it's looking like with the Vikings right now. So I might have to adjust my pick on that one. But we'll see. But yeah, Tennessee, they're a complete team, and they're hungry, and you can tell. You can tell. I like that team. I think we both had that team going
at least
to the playoffs. And it's so fun because every time we talk about Tennessee, it always pops up in my head our conversation last year when we were completely shitting on them about how we were so confused on why everyone was so high on them. We didn't see it, but we see it now. We see it now. So that's all that matters. We're on the right bandwagon this time.
Can I recommend the next game so we can just kind of get it out of the way?
Let's get it.
Jets at Colts. Jets are the worst team in football. It's not close. Adam Gase is probably on his deathbed, or at least should be. If the Colts don't win this game by at least 14 points, Frank Reich needs to have a meeting with the owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hate to be so cut and dry about it, but the Jets' number one receiver this week is Chris Hogan. Their number one running back is Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing with the Jets, the only good thing, that defense is still playing hard. They just lack talent. And Mekhi Becton is playing out of it. For anyone who is listening to this and knows, where Sean lives and the size of his building, that is Mekhi Becton. It's a massive apartment building at left tackle. He's huge, and he's fast, and he's strong, and he's dominating people.
And he's on the Jets.
It's a damn shame, but it's one
Damn
less thing
shame.
for Darnold to worry about.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I don't think I need to add anything to that. We know what the Jets are. If you haven't, just watch.
Yeah, the Jets need
Quarter,
to anchor books.
You will find out very soon.
Yeah,
what they are about. They very well might be the worst team in the NFL right now.
they just are.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, we got Las Vegas at New England.
That's a
Now
good
this is a very interesting game right here.
Yeah. This game is here's my dilemma. Am I happy that the Raiders are 2-0? Yeah, because it's about time. I've never seen a worse performance out of Drew Brees, so I can't buy into that defense just yet. Because they could not stop Kamara.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, again, traveling atmosphere, that means nothing right now. It's still warm and there's no fans. So if you factor all of that, I'm still gonna take the Patriots. I will take the consistency, the stud defense, everything that Belichick brings versus the complete wild card pseudo nonsense that John Gruden is.
Man, this is a fucking tough one because I'm loving what I'm seeing from both teams. Cam has been what I expected him to be, which is almost back to his early days in Carolina, and the Raiders are looking like the team that people actually thought John Gruden can get that team to. They got the pieces. They had all those draft picks. They made the draft picks. John Gruden has full control now, and it's finally seems like it's paying off. So this is a tough one for me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you trust Derek Carr to play that good 2 weeks in a row?
I would say no, but I don't know. This team looks a little bit different this year. I think he's more relaxed with this team because they're getting it done. He has help, more help this year than he has last year. Last year, he still had the same guys, but they weren't performing like they have been at least these last 2 weeks. Maybe it's the new arena. I don't know what it is, but this team just looks a lot better than they did last year. Last year, they showed flashes, but now we have seen this team be pretty consistent for the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards the Raiders, but at the same time, with the head coach, Belichick, the experience of Cam Newton and that defense, I got to go with Cam and Belichick. I just have to.
The slightly more insightful answer, I don't think Vegas has the weapons to outmatch. Seattle last week had more weapons than New England could handle. Vegas is the opposite. If you can contain somehow Waller and Josh Jacobs, you'll win that game.
Yeah, that's true.
Ruggs hasn't proven to me yet that he's a, let's say, worthy of where he was picked.
That's true. But you can kind of say the same thing for Raiders. If you can contain Cam, because he seems to be the only one really doing anything for that team.
I mean, Edelman's playing well.
Edelman has stepped up. That the rookie. No, he's not a rookie anymore. But Harry, he's played better. Yeah. But for me, the Raiders is pick your poison. You stop the others or you stop Cam. So
right.
That one's a tough one. But I'm gonna go with the veterans, the more veterans. Yeah. Experience championship level shit like that with the Patriots. I got to go with that one. But I would not be shocked if the Raiders won that game. Next game, a very, very injured San Francisco 49ers team who still came out with a blowout win when they lost a lot of their star guys.
It's the Jets. It means nothing.
Exactly. Against the Giants, who's also dealing with their own injuries and struggles as well.
Yeah.
So, who do you got?
Honestly, I don't. Jerick McKinnon is not Raheem Mostert, right?
No.
Here's my problem. If the Giants had any O-line, they could win this game. Any.
Without Saquon?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman's not there, so he can't just sit in zone all game.
Yeah.
Jimmy, who's at that point, you have there's three people you worry about on the Niners defense right now. One, Eric Armstead. Two, Fred Warner. Three, Jimmy Ward. You could game plan that's a vertical, literally up the middle, play to the boundaries. You could win that game. They won't. The Niners will win this game because they're better coached and have enough pieces. And what I'm going to say is about, I would say Jimmy G's just a little bit more experienced than Daniel Jones, but I don't think this is nearly the blowout that the Niners got last week.
I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think the 49ers will still win handedly. Yeah. Not only because they won't have Saquon, but that offensive line still has not looked good.
That line sucks.
I don't understand it. I really don't get it. They've been struggling with that for the past 3 seasons, and they have yet to fix it. They picked up that big guy from Georgia. Yeah. And he's doing as much as he can, but together as a unit, that offensive line is just not getting it.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem when you have no preseason, is you have no time to build any sort of cohesive unit. I'm sure if we saw training camp footage, I wouldn't be shocked if Dexter Lawrence and the Giants D line were just wreaking havoc on that line.
Yeah.
And
no question.
And Solder opting out. I mean, Solder, again, is not Orlando Pace here, but Solder would have helped.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, no question. I got this being a high-scoring game because there's just not much defense. I got it being high mid-20s, low 30s. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I could buy that.
I just have a feeling that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But next game, we got Cincy at Philly.
Yeah.
2 other somewhat badass teams.
Yeah. Fuck it. Give me the Bengals in a shootout.
It's my boy. I was hoping you were going to go for that.
I have no faith in Carson Wentz if he's playing anyone besides the Giants or Washington. And even then, the Washington part's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the classic example of a team who's underperforming and not meeting expectations versus a team with literally one job, and that's get some games under your belt and get better over time.
Yep.
And
we were having this little argument in the Jonesville Sports group chat on Instagram today.
Yep.
And they were just coming at my guy. I can't say my guy, but their guy, Carson Wentz. I mean,
Philly fans are the biggest turncoats in this is any sport. But they will be the quickest to shit on any of their own people if they do one thing wrong.
Mm-hmm. That team just looks horrible, and I'm loving it.
Yeah,
loving it.
Now, I will say this, though. I would be shocked if Miles Sanders doesn't get 100 yards on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, he has to.
That needs to be said. Whether or not Geno Atkins is there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and to your point, that brings me to think about Dougie P. His play calling hasn't looked that great either.
Mm-mm.
What happened to the play calling that we seen that year they went to the chip? Now that was some special play calling, but this year it doesn't look like we have that.
Yeah, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I don't think Doug Peterson's a bad head coach. I just right now, the only connection on that offense that I trust is Wentz to Goddard. Because Ertz, you could tell, is clearly frustrated that Goddard is good.
Yeah,
and cutting
sure.
his line share. Rager is out
Mhm.
because he tore the UCL in his thumb. I think he's probably going to go on short-term IR. Deshaun Jackson is Deshaun Jackson. All you have to do is keep a safety high, and you can stop Deshaun Jackson.
That's it.
Aside from that, Miles Sanders is going to run all over them. We know that. That defense couldn't contain a one-dimensional Washington team, and they kept McLaurin under 100 yards. How are you stopping Boyd, Mixon, A.J. Green, and T. Higgins? And John Ross if he decides to actually do something in this league.
Yeah. They got weapons. And Joe Burrow looks good.
It's a weapons nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Who notoriously struggles with covering people.
Mm-hmm. No question. I agree. I'm going with the Bengals.
Yeah,
this is not even just.
If you are a fantasy football player and you have anybody in this game, start them. This has track meet all over it.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. And it makes me think or want to start Joe Burrow, but I got Dak, who's actually playing Seahawks defense. So I don't know. I'm stuck on that one. Next game, we got Houston Texans.
Oh, here we go.
Versus your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
How we feeling?
Pittsburgh will be 3-0. This shouldn't be a serious question. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson. There's one better quarterback in the NFL, arguably two, at doing what Deshaun Watson can do, which is move out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, that defense contained Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. There's nothing. Will Fuller is a one-dimensional player. He just runs a go route and drops half of them. Brandon Cooks is one concussion away from being forced to retire. Darren Fells does not scare you at all. That should be the easiest matchup for Devin Bush that he'll get probably the rest of the season. How does Pittsburgh lose this game? Again, the fans don't matter.
Yeah.
They just don't. And the Texans defense is dog shit aside from J.J. Watt. Who's stopping the secondary? Deontay Johnson might get legitimately 12 catches.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben's
That's
back.
true.
Ben is fully back.
Yep.
He looks comfortable. He's throwing with he still is a little bit reckless, but that's been him forever.
Right. That's been him.
When he's dropping 84-yard dimes to Chase Claypool, now you're worried because you didn't know you didn't think he could do that right away. Ben's here.
Right. No, I agree with you. It's Pittsburgh. Houston is not what we've used to seeing them. They're just not going to be good this year. If you're a Houston Texans fan, just accept that.
Yeah.
Don't expect them to be, the team that sneaks into the wild card like they do almost every year. It's not going to happen this year.
Right.
They not a good football team this year.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And Pittsburgh is back.
Well, again, you got the heart and soul. And what do you expect? You traded away not exactly the heart and soul. J.J. Watt's the heart and soul. You traded away your best player. Come on. You what can you possibly expect after that?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And it does not make any sense.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Good luck to my guy over there, Deshaun Watson. Next game.
Love Deshaun Watson, by the way. Big fan.
For sure.
But God damn it, I don't know why he signed that extension there.
Yeah, because it's not going to last long there.
No.
Next game, we got Carolina at the Chargers. We got
Chargers, 100%. Carolina's probably the worst team in the NFC. No McCaffrey. And that Charger team deserved to win against the fucking Chiefs last week. They played their ass off. I will even go out on a limb and say if Derwin James is in that game, the Chargers probably win that game.
Very possible. No question.
So now you're telling me I go from a budding dynasty to the Panthers?
Mm-hmm.
No. The only thing you're worrying about is Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. You contain them, which they're supremely well equipped to handle them. I don't see how you stop them. I'm sorry, I don't see how you don't stop them.
I agree. The Chargers, I'm going with the Chargers as well. Justin looked good last week, especially in the circumstances that he had to get thrown into the game like that.
Yeah.
My heart is out to Tyrod Taylor. That's so unfortunate what happened to him.
Yeah. Can we for like just a minute? How fucking dumb do you have to be to puncture a guy's fucking lung when you're giving him a shot?
That's just fucking ridiculous, man.
And also,
that's ridiculous.
What did you use to give him the shot? A fucking javelin?
That's what I was saying. I was like, what the fuck did he use? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. And also,
we've never heard that happen in the league.
But, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. It'll 100% happen.
No question.
And for what it's worth, I hate to phrase it like this, but are we shocked that this type of shit would happen to Tyrod Taylor? Who, let's be real. Tyrod Taylor is like the homeless guy you pay $50 to wait in line at like a Star Wars premiere. Like, he's just there because you're paying him to be there, but he's not long term.
Yeah, no question.
Right. Justin Herbert looked real fucking good, by the way.
He did.
Did not expect that for a guy who learned at game time that, oh, yeah, your doctor almost killed the guy in front of you, so go out there. Let's get her fucking
Exactly. And almost beat the champs. Yeah. So, no question. For that, I think that's a lot of confidence for them going forward.
Yeah.
And they'll win this game against Carolina, who's not a great team. Moving on. Man, there's not too many good games. The way I'm looking at this schedule right now.
There's really not.
We got Tampa at Denver.
I want to pick Denver so bad, but no. It has to be Tampa.
Sorry.
Yeah, again, no offense to E, which, by the way, I could have told you that you weren't winning that game last week against us with Drew Lock.
Yeah.
But I will say this, though. I'm starting Noah Fant in every one of my fantasy leagues because even with a healthy Cortland Sutton, that kid's a fucking baller.
He is. Noah Fant. And you stole him from me because that was actually my next pick.
Wait, I did?
So you stole him. Yeah.
Oh, well.
You stole him.
Yeah, well, again, do I have to say it? Defending champion over here. It's not like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
All right. So, yeah, we expect Tampa to win that game. Very easy.
And then, by the way, are you curious at all as to what Bruce Arians is doing with Gronk?
I mean, I don't know. Do you know what's going on with them?
Well, basically, the way I'm seeing it, Pat McAfee broached this briefly on his show, but that's more of like satire. That's too much of a mix of like comedy with actual reporting. So I can't like digest that show all the time. What I'm seeing going on here is a lot like the what's the word? Spoil of riches, where you have three very good, solid tight ends, but everyone's expecting you to throw to Gronk, so you can't throw to fucking Gronk all the time. But you can give him at least 5 targets.
Exactly.
But let's be real, though. Mike Evans and Godwin are banged up. Okay. Ronald Jones, good back. Fournette him and Fournette are a decent combo. Fine. But Jesus fucking Christ, there's too many ingredients in the soup for this to, be a cohesive unit. Someone every week is going to be like, how come this is like that? Like, if anyone that plays Madden, you get that text in franchise, disgruntled wide receiver. This is every fucking week.
Exactly.
Mike Evans could go, yo, what the fuck? You only threw the ball 7 times my way. It's like, well, I have 80,000 people on this team that can all do what you do.
Right. That's the thing with that Tampa team is, and that goes for any team that's got a lot of talent. You got to be able to accept the piece of pie that you're going to get, and that's all that you're going to get if you want to be great. Now, if you're superiorly great to those other players, then obviously you should be getting more of the piece of the pie. But that's not the case. You got 3 guys that are great. Also on receivers as well. You got 2 guys that are great. So everyone's got to eat if you're going to make it work. Yeah. Because if not, like you said, Madden mode turns into everyone's disgruntled. Nobody wants to deal with that shit.
Right.
So next game we got Detroit at Arizona.
Yeah, we're in the 4 o'clock. If Galladay plays, this game fascinates me. If he doesn't, I'm taking the Cardinals either way. But I am more curious to – how can I phrase this? This game could be a good old-fashioned showdown, like a gunslinging showdown, assuming Galladay's there.
I agree.
Fair statement.
I can see that.
But I don't think it would take a top 5 unit in football, like a Baltimore, a New England, a Pittsburgh, to contain and stop Kyler Murray right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Him and D-Hop look electric.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to agree with you. You got to have one of the top 5 defenses in the league to not even stop, but to slow down Kyler Murray, because that dude is fast as hell. He's shifty, he's agile, and he's good. So you put all that together, he can dissect the shit out of a goddamn defense.
Everything Lamar did last year, but with actual quarterback skill.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying Lamar is a bad quarterback. What I'm saying is Kyler Murray is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson, and he's equally fast.
No question. And he's smaller, so it's harder to catch guys like that.
Yeah.
I think Arizona looks good. They're on a hot start, and I think they continue it. But I will agree with you that Detroit could make this an interesting game and make this a
Detroit is not bad. They just Galladay,
they're not.
Galladay not being there makes them too one-dimensional. And I wish I love Adrian Peterson. I really wish he wasn't there, because I would love to see just a 1-2 punch of Kerryon and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thunder and lightning never hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and just the thing about the week when they played Green Bay, they were in it for that first half, and then Green Bay just blew it away.
Beat the fucking Bears. They should have beat Detroit. Swift just made the first drop. That was a come on, you gotta catch that. There's no fans. What are you afraid of? But nonetheless, the Lions are not as bad as they look or their record shows. I think they've just drawn. We didn't know Arizona was going to be this good, so they're dealing with 3 good teams in a row to start the season. It's just kind of a shit. It's kind of like the Lions, just luck. Like, of course, you're starting with 3-0 teams or 2-0 teams.
Yeah, exactly. It's bad luck there. Yeah, it is what it is. Now we go on to my Dallas Cowboys,
Okay.
coming off of a amazing comeback win. We got the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. Hate to
Even
break
though we
it.
came off of an amazing win, and go ahead.
You're not winning that game.
I know.
Yeah, I hate to be the asshole here, but that's kind of like the role I have in this whole Joneson operation. You're not winning this game. Atlanta has no defense. And, I understand you had your 4 fumbles and all that bullshit. Seattle's not making the mistakes that Atlanta makes. It's just how this is.
Horribly.
Yeah.
Did we get you back? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. But yeah, Atlanta's going to
Okay.
make the mistakes that Seattle is not going to make. That's the difference. And by the way, I fear Seattle's offense a hell of a lot more than Atlanta. Russell Wilson and that DK Metcalf is an absolute unit. Lockett's a stud. Their tight end combo of Hollister and Disley do exactly what they need to do in that system. Carson and Hyde are a good one too. Like, there's nothing missing on this Seahawks team. And then you throw in Jamal Adams. Come on, that team is dangerous, and it's well coached.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I'm going with Seattle to win this game, but based off of what I've seen from both teams the last few weeks, I think it'll be a high-scoring game.
Oh yeah,
because both teams can obviously put up.
Yeah,
both teams can definitely put up points. So
this game,
I don't think we will be missing out on that.
Yeah, winner of this
Say
game.
Again?
Winner, in my opinion, winner of this game probably hits 40 points.
Yeah,
I don't see much.
I agree.
In this game,
I think it'll be a high scoring game. Yeah, definitely, no question. It would be nice if our team could pull out a win, but I just don't see it. Not the way our defense fucking looks. Not the way our offense starts off games. We need a complete game, and I haven't seen that from the Cowboys yet. Yeah. I see halves, and I'm very disappointed in that shit. That's why I was not hyped about us this year, even though the analysts are still hyped about the Cowboys this year, even though we were 8-8 and they were hyped on us last year. And I just don't like when people like us. I don't like it. Hate the Cowboys. I like when you guys hate us because we perform better in those situations. But when we're expected to be up here, we always end up down here. So that's why I'm not giving us high expectations.
Revising my
we have the potential. Say that.
By the way, I have to revise my pick. Not for this game, but for the Cowboys season outlook. I have the right to.
What was that?
I reserve the right. I don't think you make the AFC. I don't think you're making the NFC title game. I think that's Seattle Green Bay.
Yeah, no question.
Losing Van Der Esch is a backbreaker.
It sure is.
I fear that Van Der Esch is going to have the career trajectory of Ryan Shazier. So talented, so good, but the neck injuries over time will fuck you. They'll fuck you. In Shazier's case, he got the worst possible outcome. I don't know if you guys extend Leighton Van Der Esch, which is a shame because he's a thrill to watch, but god damn does he get hurt a lot.
Only his second year. It's a damn shame. Talent gone.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though, but we both got Seattle on that one.
Yeah.
And then we got Green Bay at New Orleans.
Yeah, the Sunday Nighter.
Sunday
Nighter.
Sunday night, yep, 8:20.
Yeah, no Michael Thomas equals a shaky Drew Brees. No dome to worry about. Give me Green Bay by 2 touchdowns.
I agree.
With or without Devontae Adams, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For all the times that the Packers have gotten shit on for not drafting another good wide receiver in the first round, that unit's also been together for so long that he can trust Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, Geronimo Allison. It works.
It does. It seems to be working for sure now.
And Aaron Jones is a stud.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is doing what he's been doing the past few years. And I agree with you. I'm going with Green Bay. I don't want to say Drew Brees is getting old, but it's starting to show. I mean, we just got to be honest. I was hard on Tom Brady when his age started to show, and I think Drew Brees' arm age is starting to show. When he throws these bombs or these deep passes, you can see he's actually have to putting a little more effort into it.
Not even that.
You know,
the ones that he's trying to throw deep are going like 35 yards.
Exactly. So I don't think he's still accurate as hell. Don't get me wrong, but it looks like he took a little bit of a step back this year.
Yeah. So
far. So, but I think the Saints are still going to be a great team. But I got Green Bay. They're riding hot right now. I think they're going to finish that off. And then the last game of the week, which seems to be the best game.
Oh, by far.
A game that all of us wanted to see in the AFC Championship, but we didn't because Baltimore got knocked out by the Tennessee Titans. But we're going to see it on Monday night. Kansas City Chiefs at Baltimore. Who do you got?
This is tough. This is arguably the best defense in football versus the obvious best offense. My one concern is Baltimore can score in buckets. They're sneaky good at it, and they don't need Mark Andrews to do it. Give me Baltimore.
Good pick. And most people would expect me to pick the Chiefs, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm actually going to go with Baltimore on this one as well. I'm not going to lie. Last week I wasn't very excited in what I saw in the Chiefs. The offense didn't look that great. We already know the defense isn't that great. But the offense, that's your bread and butter, and you have talent across the board. So for you guys to be struggling the way that they have been struggling, even week one against Houston, it took them a while to get started. It took them a while, and it shouldn't take a team that good to be struggling like that. Not only do we take back these last two games, last week and week one, let's go back into the Super Bowl. Let's go back into the AFC Championship game. Let's go back into these other games. Yes, they came back, which is obviously the special thing about this team is that they have so much firepower on offense that no deficit is out of question for them. But they still worry me with the fact that they're starting off slow. I've never liked any team, no matter how good they are on offense or defense, to have slow starts, because slow starts will eventually bite you in the ass.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it a slow start. I would say slow by their standards, sure.
Okay, yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's this fucking defense. You put all the money in the offense. Okay, makes total sense. Mahomes is worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
You have two playmakers on fucking defense. Baltimore has more weapons. Sorry. Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to say if Chiefs won. I mean, they're obviously capable of it with all the weapons like that. This can come down to a very tight game, a 3-point game, something like that. I definitely see that happening. But I just don't like these slow starts. And Baltimore is a team that you give them a slow start and they get firing on both sides, on defense and offense, it might be too late and too hard to come back to win against that team.
Right.
So we both got the Ravens. That is all the picks for this week. Obviously, check in on us midweek or Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll probably have another podcast. We'll probably see us talking some shit throughout the Sunday or, the days after that. So definitely tune into that. If you want to see, like I said, shit talking, some great conversations about sports, football, all that. Join us on Instagram, Jones and for Sports, Facebook, and Twitter, and obviously YouTube. Other than that, thank you to all our patrons and everybody that supports us. We support you guys by supporting us, and that's it. Your boy Jones, Luke, Locker Room Sunday, Jones for Sports. We make sports better. Peace.
Welcome to Jones and for Sports, where we make sports better.